If you want to know more about my healing journey, what I am healing from, and all of that good stuff, it is in the description box below. You can follow the links, you can watch videos, you can read blogs. It's all there. So, what are we doing today? Today, I am doing a Q&A video. It was requested that I talk about my menstrual cycle, whatever I can come up with about the menstrual cycle on my medical medium healing journey. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Let's talk about the menstrual cycle. First, I think it is very important to know that the reason things seem to flare up, get worse, feel worse, and you get more symptoms during your menstrual cycle, you may notice, is because when it is time for us to have our menstrual cycle, 80% of our immune system diverts itself into the reproductive system. So that is why you will get flares and symptom flares, and you'll feel worse, and you might have migraines, or you might have constipation, or you might have whatever myriad of symptoms you have. You might have heavy cycles and things like that. It is because of that. It is because our immune system is diverted. And how I deal with that is I try to up my supplement doses during my menstrual cycle, give myself extra care, like heat packs and cold packs and stuff like that, heat in the morning and cold at night. I give my liver extra support and my adrenals extra support. So maybe more juices and more smoothies and just more frequent grazing to just keep that support going. And it does not hurt to do extra celery juice. Any extra mineral salts will definitely help, because all of those things can be depleted and diverted to our immune systems. Another thing that often can happen with people, in the thyroid healing book, Medical Medium talks about abnormal menstrual periods. He briefly mentions them in the Life Changing Foods book and also in the first book, Medical Medium, Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal. But he mostly goes into it in thyroid healing and then in liver rescue. So if you want to read more about what he says about it, I'm actually also going to put links below to other resources that are also Medical Medium and what he says about them. But I just want to be clear that he does talk about it, and there is information in the book Thyroid Healing and also in the Liver Rescue book are where Medical Medium talks most about things like abnormal menstrual cycles. He also talks about perimenopause and menopause, and I actually don't want to go too much into what he says here because it's his information and it's best to get it from the source. But I will talk a little bit about causes according to Medical Medium. So oftentimes when people go on a plant-based diet, what happens is their cycle is affected. Mine was, but I didn't ever for 1 minute blame Medical Medium or Medical Medium information. Now my period has always been like clockwork, and during this healing process my period would come and go, and it didn't ever go completely, but sometimes it would be a month late or so. Like it got pretty irregular. And people will often go on a plant-based diet and then blame the plant-based diet for their period disappearing, but what's actually happening is they are not eating enough calories. That's one thing that happens. They are not eating enough calories because we make the mistake of thinking, oh, I'll just eat the same amount, like physical volume amount of what I was eating before. But the thing is that if we were eating a high-fat diet before, if we were eating an animal protein-based diet or even a plant-based but protein-based diet, those calories are a lot more dense than plant-based calories. So if you're eating fruits and vegetables, you have to eat a much, much higher volume and quantity than you were when you were eating meat, dairy, eggs, nuts and seeds, and things like that. Yes, nuts and seeds are part of a plant-based diet, but you always kind of want to lower your fats for healing. And so if you're lowering your fats, you definitely need to up your carbohydrates. You need to up the fruits and you need to up the greens to meet the caloric density of the high-fat foods. They just don't have the same caloric density. So you really have to eat more. And I know I made the mistake of not eating enough. I know there was a great period of time while I was healing, in my earlier parts of healing, where I was not eating enough food. And I thought I was. I did not understand that I wasn't. And that may have been what caused the irregularities in my menstrual cycle. Now, that's not always, and it's not normally the cause of abnormal menstrual cycles, because you can be eating a high-fat diet and have abnormal menstrual cycles, obviously. The other cause, and the more common cause, is Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus causes abnormal menstrual cycles. It definitely can. Not always, not in everyone. You have to have the right balance of toxins and environmental whatever, but it definitely can happen. That's the most common cause of abnormal menstrual cycles. So there's basically three main things that are the more common cause or can be contributing factors to abnormal menstrual cycles with or without a plant-based diet. And Epstein-Barr is the first two things. It's either chronic Epstein-Barr in the uterus or ovaries, or it's Epstein-Barr virus causing adrenal dysfunction. Those are the two Epstein-Barr ones. And the third one, this is an either or, but it's probably more of a both. It can also be a diet high in fat. So if you're eating a lot of dairy, nuts, seeds, animal protein, eggs, all of those things, or any of those things, any kind of diet high in fat, that can also cause abnormal menstruation. So of course, what do you want to do? You want to lower the fats. You want to have supplements that, you want to support your liver. You want to support your adrenals by eating every 60 to 90 minutes or every 90 to 120 minutes. It depends on your level of adrenal dysfunction. Like, the worse it is, the more frequently you want to eat. But between 1 and 2 hours, every 1 and 2 hours. Grazing it's super important. And if you can have an adrenal snack that is, optimally, you want to have an adrenal snack that is a balance, ideally, of potassium, mineral salts, and sugar, glucose. Fruit sugar, not table sugar or other kinds of sugar. So you want to have, the medical medium has put out a list of 16 adrenal snacks, and they are ideal and wonderful. And you can make variations on those combinations. Like, you can blend them into smoothies or make them into a pudding or an applesauce or something. And they are delicious, all of them, and wonderful. And so it's fruit and greens, basically. Fruit and greens. You want to have that good balance of mineral salts and sugar and potassium. Glucose, fruit sugar, fructose. So yes, supporting your adrenals is key for healing anything. You need to support your adrenals. You need to support your liver, and you're supporting your liver by going lower in fat and eating more of the healing foods. So those things are key. All right. And while looking for, because I wanted to make sure I have a list of the foods and supplements that support the reproductive system and the menstrual cycle, and while looking for them, I found this great article that I will link below, because it is also written by Anthony William, and it's on a website called healyourlife.com. Don't worry, you don't have to remember it. I'm going to put the link below in the description box. So it says, when you're looking to boost the immune system and support the reproductive system, the best foods to concentrate on are wild blueberries, sesame tahini, avocados, asparagus, black beans, apples, spinach, black grapes, and cucumbers. All of those are great hydrating foods. I thought of cucumbers and apples, and I thought, those are so hydrating. They're all supportive foods for the reproductive system. And then there are herbs and supplements that you can also take, and I will tell you those as well. So nettle leaf reduces inflammation in the reproductive system. So you can take nettle leaf in a tea or in a tincture. Make sure your tincture's alcohol-free. I will put a list in the description box to the recommended supplements and herbs from the medical medium page, because it's very important to take high quality. If you're going to take tinctures, take a high quality one and make sure it is alcohol-free. Alcohol in a tincture negates the effect of the tincture. You do not want to ever have alcohol in your tinctures. Alcohol is very hard on the liver. It's not good for the body, and it just destroys the effect of whatever you're taking in that alcohol. So don't take alcohol in tinctures. Medical Medium on his supplements page has recommended links to alcohol-free tinctures. And you don't have to buy them through his links. You can go to other places if you can find them cheaper there. It varies. Sometimes they're cheaper on Amazon, sometimes they're cheaper on Vitacost. Sometimes you can get some of them on eBay for a bulk. The company Hawaii Farm, they sell theirs in bulk where you can buy, instead of buying a little 1 or 2 ounce bottle, you can actually buy a mason jar size bottle. If you know it's a tincture you're going to be taking a lot of and it's the one he recommends. I like to find the companies that he recommends and go to their websites and see if I can get better deals by buying directly from them. And you can buy from Hawaii Farm on eBay and get 32 ounce mason jars of alcohol-free, unfiltered. They give you all the options on the auction to pick the kind you want. And it is significantly cheaper than buying in the little 1 and 2 ounce bottles. It really, really is. Because if you know you're going to use that much over time, the bulk savings is it's exponential. So you can do that. So those are places you can find those supplements. All right, back to the list of supplements. So nettle leaf reduces inflammation of the reproductive system. Wild yam helps stabilize levels of estrogen and progesterone. Schizandra berry. I have pets and they make noise. So much noise. But I love them, and so I just put up with it. I'm sure it does not add to my videos, but I just can't help it. I love these little goofballs so much. Even though they interrupt every single video I make and they mess up my flow. It's a trade-off, I guess. Schizandra berry helps flush excess estrogen from the body. And I apologize if I am not pronouncing that correctly. I have only ever read the word. Hawthorn berry aids the ovaries. Vitex or chaste tree berry, it helps stabilize the menstrual cycle. It makes a really good tea. I like it in a powdered form, and I put it in a tea with like rose hips or something. It's really good. Or you could make a menstrual tea with chaste tree berry and red clover and red raspberry. Oh my gosh, that would be really good. You could do that. The red clover blossom helps flush out harmful hormones that are stored in the organs. So that's a really good one for the menstrual cycle. Sage helps protect the cervix from abnormal cell growth. So that's a really good one if you have any sort of cysts or tumors. So that's the herbs and or tinctures. And then supplements that are supportive to the menstrual cycle. Folic acid helps replenish the uterus. B-complex helps provide essential vitamins for the reproductive system. Vitamin D3 helps stabilize the immune and reproductive systems. And vitamin E helps stabilize the central nervous system and promotes blood circulation. So again, you want to go to Medical Medium's recommended supplements page and look for those supplements on his page, because he will have the links to the best sources for those supplements and the cleanest sources for those supplements. So those are some helpful herbs and supplements and foods to support your reproductive cycle. And I think, of course, asking the angels for help, just giving yourself extra love and care during your menstrual cycle, I think is really important. And taking extra care of yourself and supporting yourself during your menstrual cycle, I think, is also very important. Doing things like dry skin brushing to help support your lymph draining, and taking detox baths if you can. Oh my gosh, he's got the liver support detox bath with the kelp in the liver rescue book, and then, or you could just do a mineral salt detox bath with Epsom salts and sea salt and baking soda and a drop of essential oil maybe, I don't know. Those are really good ways to help the detox process and help relax you. And the Epsom salts too, when you're on your period, that magnesium in the Epsom salts is very comforting to a cramping or difficult uterus. And if migraines are a problem during your period, if you kind of get triggered by your immune system being so diverted and get migraines, celery juice, celery juice, celery juice. Cucumber juice is also really good for migraines. And drink plenty of lemon water first thing every morning, and even right before you go to bed, to just keep flushing out all the extra toxins and debris. That is also very supportive. Those are great things to do. If you can find, this time of year, it's really hard in a lot of places to find melon, but if you can find melon of any kind, blend that up and drink it. It's incredibly hydrating. It helps support your body. It's got mineral salts. It helps flush things out. It's so good. That can be very supportive. And the teas, of course, the teas and the healing broths are incredibly supportive to the body. And drinking those teas is very helpful. And then meditations. There's so many meditations in the back of all of the medical medium books that can be supportive and helpful. Really, any of them, honestly, during a stressful time or when things get a little harder, I think are very valuable to use. I mean, it's just very valuable to use them every night, no matter what. And then, hot and cold packs on your, if you are having pain, I like to put hot and cold, heat in the morning, cold at night. And gentle exercise, very gentle exercise is still okay, rebounding, and it depends. I mean, listen to your body, do what your body says. If even gentle exercise feels like too much, don't do it. Just rest. There's nothing wrong with taking naps. There is nothing wrong with taking naps. I am fully supportive of naps. Naps used to be really hard for me. It's interesting because they used to be really hard for me, and so I would take a nap in the middle of the day, and I think a lot of times what would happen is I'd nap too long. And I've read several articles and studies that the naps of differing time lengths have differing effects. And I found for me the longer naps were too much, and I would feel kind of disheveled and discombobulated. And sometimes I would feel worse after I would take like a 3-hour nap. But if I take a half-hour nap or an hour nap, that's a game changer. And when I learned about that, and I thought, I'll just try it, like maybe, because I thought for a long time that I just couldn't, I'm like, I can't handle naps, it just messes me up, right? Because I was taking these 3-hour naps. Well, yeah, that does mess me up, but if I take a half-hour nap or an hour nap, I feel really good afterwards. I mean, it varies, but most of the time I do feel refreshed and more rested, and it helps me continue throughout my day, so I don't feel so tired for like the second half of the day on the days that I feel like I need a nap. So I feel, first of all, our adrenals and our bodies, the way they work, sleeping and napping between 10 and 2 a.m. or p.m. is the time when we get the most healing from that rest. So if you can take a nap between 10 and 2 for however long, or even just lay down and do a meditation or something, it's so incredibly healing for the body. And same at night, you should be sleeping, but I mean, that's important. You should be sleeping before 10 so that you get that whole 10 and 2 rest and rejuvenation period in. But if you can't, or whatever, sometimes circumstances dictate things to be a different way, but 10 and 2 are the windows, the healing windows for sleep. Like, you get the most restorative sleep between those hours, and the most healing happens between those hours. So that's very important. So I want to reiterate that if you have started a plant-based diet and then your period goes wonky, I really want you to look to your calories. Look to your caloric intake. You can use something like chronometer.com, I think it is, or chronometer, or whatever it's called. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, but it's a calorie tracking app. You can put your food in there and it'll tell you how many calories you're eating. And oftentimes when people start a plant-based diet, especially coming from a high-fat diet, you will be so surprised at how little you are taking in. And you'll be like, oh my God, how? Whoa, I need to eat more. And that is often the problem. And that is often why, if your period disappears, it'll disappear. However, more often, because periods will become abnormal in whatever way, heavy, too light, too infrequent, too frequent, too much bleeding, too much pain, all of the things, migraine triggers and all that stuff, constipation or diarrhea or whatever, all of those things can happen really more often than not. It is EBV, like I said before. So really, really check your calories and know if you're eating enough, and try to eat more, because that can often level it out. And the other thing is, a lot of times people will blame it on the plant-based diet because it was already coming. It was already, things were kind of spiraling, getting worse and worse, which is what made you change your diet in the first place. But a lot of times things are already coming down the pike and we've suddenly switched to a plant-based diet, and we blamed the plant-based diet because it was already coming. But we're like, oh, but we think that things happen instantaneously and are responsive instantaneously. For example, hair loss, okay? If something's going on with your hair, it's getting more brittle, texture changing, you're losing hair, whatever is falling out, that is from, 7 to 12 months ago. Something happened 7 to 12 months ago, a lot of adrenal stress, that's really what causes hair loss. And that's why you're getting that effect now. Your teeth, even longer. Your teeth can be like 4 to 6 years ago, 3 to 6 years ago, I think he said. So a lot of people think, oh, I switched to a plant-based diet and stuff started happening with my teeth. And no, it's not because of the plant-based diet. It's because of whatever was going on 3 to 6 years ago. For me, that was being on a paleo, high-fat, almost ketogenic diet for that at that time, and it ruined my teeth. My teeth are a freaking mess because of it. It is not because of eating plants and starting to heal, because my body is healing, and I have healed so many other symptoms, and so many other things are continuously getting better. So what is going on with my teeth, and what started going on with my teeth at the beginning or whatever, has nothing to do with this. It's because of what was going on 3 to 6 years ago. And I definitely know that that's true, because I know what was going on 3 to 6 years ago. And having immersed myself in medical medium information and learned so much of it at this point, I get it. I understand, like, okay, yeah, I definitely see how it's reflected. Teeth are slow. They're just slower to reflect the changes you're making. I know how easy it is to think like, oh my gosh, I started this and then this stuff started happening, but it's what was coming before. If you had Epstein-Barr virus getting bigger and bigger and expanding in your body, and then something triggered it, or there was a trauma, or there was an accident, or there was a big stressful event, or a lot of adrenaline. Because remember, adrenaline is more even than all of the toxins in our environment. Adrenaline is the favorite food of viruses and bacteria, even more than eggs, even more than dairy or any of the foods not to eat. All of those foods that feed pathogens, they still prefer adrenaline, our adrenaline that we make. And that's adrenaline that we make in happy times. Like if somebody's, snowboarding and they get an adrenaline rush. I've never done I don't do any extreme sports or any of those adrenaline sports, and I'm obviously. So I don't know firsthand, but I know that that's what happens. And even happy adrenaline is still adrenaline. It's not as bad, but our adrenaline feeds those pathogens. So mitigating the effects of that adrenaline is also incredibly important. So lots of glucose and mineral salts is what mitigates the effects and cools your body down and keeps you more level and calm. And those meditations, talking to the angels, and so just supporting. Again, when my period comes, if I start having more symptoms, and sometimes I still do. I will tell you this though. In the 31 months that I have been healing with medical medium information, any effects that I get from my period are so much smaller. Like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10 before, the pain I would get in my back was like, I would probably put it at an 8 or a 9 at times. Now, if I get it, I don't always get it, but I'll only get it in one side, shingles still hanging out in my body. Only get it in one side, and it'll be like a 1 or a 2. It'll be so low. And then like cramping and bloating does not, the bloating still happens, but the cramping doesn't. Like I don't feel crampy anymore. I will still get the bloating, definitely still happens. I mean, it's still a period. And I'm still healing, so there's still stuff going on, but I do get the bloating, but the cramping is not painful. It's just more like, oh, bloaty. It feels big. I used to get migraines with my period. I was one of those people that did get the migraines, and that doesn't happen anymore. And if I have a symptom, I just know, okay, up my supplements. My immune system is busy right now, and it's not available, so I have to do what I can to support it. So I up the supplements that I already take and bring in lots of fresh fruit, all those antioxidants, that's the good stuff, wild blueberries and all the fruits from the list I said, hydrating foods, lots of lemon water. So, just supporting that sort of fleshing out and that detox process and getting things moving through you, and enjoy the cleansing. You know what I mean? Like, stuff comes out more during your period. You are fleshing everything out. So just help that process, help it flush, and take extra care of yourself, and extra self-care, and extra self-compassion. So if you need to lie down, you lie down, and when you can, obviously. If you're at work, you gotta work, but you know what I mean. Just extra self-care. So I hope that was helpful information, and I would like to hear from you if I missed anything. What do you do to support yourself during your period if there was something I missed about it? Even if there wasn't. Tell me what you do to support yourself during your period. Is there anything that you find particularly helpful in this medical medium protocol and this medical medium journey that you would like to share? I would love to hear it in the comments below. You know how I love your comments, so please leave them. All right, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up below. You can subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button over there, and you can ding the bell next to it if you want to be notified when I post new videos. I so appreciate your presence and your time. I know my videos are not short like a lot of videos are on YouTube, and so the fact that you take the time to watch them just fills my heart, and I so appreciate you. Even if you don't watch the whole video, I still just appreciate your presence. I really do. Blessings to all of you on your continued healing journey. Stay curious, my healers and health seekers. Always stay curious. I love you, mwah, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.